Hi guys, it's Joanne here. Today I bring you another tutorial on how to cut and sew this beautiful shirt dress you're seeing on your screen. Trust me, this tutorial is very detailed, so if you're a beginner you don't have a problem because you're going to enjoy every bit of this tutorial. So if you're interested in something like this, watch this video to the end. Don't forget to like and share this video. Also, please subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so yet. Turn on your post notification bell for more videos. Now, without wasting much of your time, let's get right into the tutorial. This is the African print I'm going to be using for this tutorial. This is about 3 yards. So if you're making something like this, 3 yards should be okay for you. And I have already placed my fabric on the table, and over here I folded this in. Okay, so I'm going to measure that to show you guys. This is 2.5 inches. That will be for the bottom placket. Okay, so I folded this right sides facing each other because I'm going to be taking my measurements here. All right, and this is the front part I am going to be measuring. So to fold this, use your largest circumference of which is the hip to fold this. Okay, so now this is the start point line. If you have been following me, you notice I do this a lot. All right, so this is the start point line. This also happens to be the shoulder line. Okay, so from this line I'm going to be taking the vertical measurement. Okay, placing my tape here, I am going to be taking the chest line, which is 8 inches. Okay, then I'm taking the waistline, which is 15 inches. From the waistline, now I'm going to place my tape on the waistline and mark, go down and mark the hip line, which is 8 inches. All right, so from the shoulder line here, I am going to be taking the length of the gown. All right, so for the length I marked 39 inches plus 1 inch for hemming, which is 40 inches. Okay, so now I'm now going to use my straight rule now to connect each of these points into a straight line. All right, so I'm connecting them. That's the length of the dress, which is the hem. This is the hip line. Also, this is the waistline, and this is the waistline, and this is the bust line here. Okay, so this is the vertical measurement. Okay, so from this part now I am going to be taking, from here now I'm going to be taking the necessary measurement. Okay, after marking the vertical measurement, I'm going to be taking the body measurement. So I'm cutting this excess out. All right, so that I'll know that I'm working with the main measurement. Now I am going to come over here to the shoulder line, and I'm going to be taking the shoulder measurement. So shoulder measurement divided by 2. What I had was I divided 15 inches by 2. Okay, so I imputed half of 15 inches. Then I'm going ahead now to make a connection from the bust line to the shoulder line into a straight line. So on the shoulder line I came down by 1 inch. Then on the neckline, because I'm marking directly on the fabric, I'm going to be coming in for the neck width by 2.5 inches, and I'm going to make a connection from the shoulder slope down to the neck width. Okay, now next thing I'm going to do is to take the neck depth for the front. So to take the neck depth for the front, I came down by 2.5 inch. I am marking on the fabric. Okay, directly on the fabric. So I connected this using my cuff rule, okay, to connect my neck. Now next thing I'm going to do is to come down here to the armhole and take the midpoint of my armhole. So what I had there, I came in here by half of an inch, and on the bust line here I am going to take the bust measurement, divide by 4. Then I went ahead and added half of an inch for ease. Since this is a shirt gown, you need ease. Okay, you don't want your shirt to be tight, so I imputed that here, and I am going to be connecting these 3 points together to form my armhole. After doing this, the next thing I'm going to do now will be to go over to the bust line here and add 1 inch. That will be for my sewing allowance. And on the waistline, I'm going to take the waist measurements. Okay, whatever I have here, I am going to be adding 0.5 inch to that measurement. Okay, like I said, this is a shirt gown. You need ease. Okay, you don't want your shirt to be so tight. Then I added 1 inch, extra 1 inch for sewing allowance. Then on the hip here, I'm going to be taking the hip measurement. Okay, divide that measurement by 4, then add 0.5 inch and also come in by come out here by 1 inch. That will be for the sewing allowance. And for the length, whatever you have on your hip is what you're going to be imputing here. Measure what you have on your hip and impute on the length of the dress. Now after doing this, I'm going to take my straight rule now to connect from my hip down to the length, okay, down to the hem, and I'm going to be connecting the allowance here, okay. Then from the hip here, I am going to be connecting, using a slide curve here to connect my hip, the hip line, okay. I'm going to be using a slide curve to connect the hip line to meet to the waist like this, and I'm also going to connect to meet to the bust line, okay. Then I'm also going to connect the allowances, as you can see here. So basically, there's nothing to it. It's very simple. So if you follow this tutorial, if you follow this video very well, you definitely understand what I'm doing here. Okay, so having done this, I can say that for now I am done. I'm going to make an alteration on the front part later. So for now, I'm going to just cut this and put the front away and cut the back, okay. So I'm going to be cutting the neck now and the shoulder. Okay, so now on the length here, I am going to, at the edge here, I am going to come up by 1 inch, okay. This part here, I'm coming up by 1 inch. I'm going to slightly curve to meet to the length, okay. I'm going to slightly curve it this way, as you can see. So if you want yours to be deeper than this, you can do 2 inches, 2.5 inches, even you can go as far as 3 inches. It depends on how curvy you want it. So I don't want this to be curvy, okay. So now I am going to open this part, the bottom placket, for you guys to see how it is, and I'm going to put this away and cut the back now. This is the back. I've already folded like what I did for the front. This is the folded part, and now I'm going to also come here on the shoulder line, okay. I'm going to come down here by, let's say, 2.5 inches, okay. I came down here by 2.5 inches. So you can also do 2 inches, all right. So I'm now going to use a straight rule now to connect these points. Okay, so you may be wondering why I came down here by 2.5 inches. Don't worry, you're going to be seeing that. So this will be my shoulder line, okay. So from here now, I'm going to be taking the necessary measurement, being the chest line, the waistline, and from the waistline I came down by 8 inches. That will be for the hip line. Now I'm going back to the shoulder to place my tape here, and I'm going to be taking the length of the dress, just like what I did for the front, okay. The only difference is that for the back, I came down by 2.5 inches and I started the measurement from there, okay. So I'm now taking my straight rule now to connect this point here into a straight rule. That will be for the length. And on the hip line, I'm going to also make a straight line here, and on the waistline I'll do the same thing, make a straight line here. Then on the bust line, okay, I'm going to also make a straight line here. Now this is the shoulder line, the bust line, the waistline, the hip line, okay, and of course the length of the dress. Now I'm going to cut out this excess I have here on the length so I can actually work with the actual fabric, okay. Now coming over now to the shoulder line, I'm going to be taking the shoulder measurements, divide by 2, and I'm imputing that on that line here. And on the bust, I did the same thing, and I'm going to take my straight rule now to connect these 2 points together into a straight line. Back to the shoulder line, I'm going to be coming down here by 1 inch, okay. Come down here by 1 inch. Then on the neck for the back, also come in here by 2.5 inch for the neck width, and I'm going to make a curve. I'm going to connect it. Going to connect it to meet to the neck width. Then for the neck depth, I'm coming down here by 1/2 inch. I'm going to curve it, connect it like this to meet to the neck width, okay. Now after doing this, on the armhole here, I am going to take the midpoint, make a point there, and take my bust measurements, divide by 4. Whatever I have here, I am going to be imputing that measurement here, and I'm going to take my curve and connect my armhole. So see the way I'm connecting this armhole here, all right. like so. So next thing now I'm going to do now will be to take the waist measurement. Okay, so to take the waist measurement, just like what I did for the front, I'm taking the my entire waist measurement divided by 4, and I added 0.5 inch seam 0.5 inch for ease. Okay, so on the bust here I am adding 1 inch, that will be for the sewing allowance. Then on the hip line I did the same thing I did for the front, take the entire hip measurement, add 0.5 inch for ease, and also add your 1 inch sewing allowance. Then on the length, whatever I had on the hip, I am simply repeating what I marked on the hip on the length. Okay, and I'm using my straight rule now to connect this point here into a straight line from the hip to the length. And also on the allowance I am going to be marking a straight line here like this. And for the hip I am going to use my slight curve here to connect from the waist now to the hip, and also the allowance here I'm going to be connecting, and also do the same thing for the bust. Basically just connect the points that I marked earlier on. Okay, so this is what I have here. So having done this, all right, since this is a shirt gown, okay, so for this part here, this shoulder part here, I am going to be extending that measurement upwards. That's the reason I came down here by 2.5 inch. Okay, so I'm going to be extending that measurement. All right, you know, since it's a shirt gown, it's the joining here on the shoulder is not supposed to be exactly on the shoulder line. Okay, it's supposed to come down. Now to take that measurement, I'm going to be marking 1.5 inches. Okay, I'm going to be marking 1.5 inches. It's supposed to be 1 inch, but because I'm going to be using ½ inch to join to the front, and for the neck here I am extending this neckline here to meet to the 1.5. It's very easy, guys. So I'm going to now use my rule to connect these points that I marked earlier. So having done this, you can see here I have already marked this, and I'm going to now cut like this, cut it all the way. Okay, now see what I added here to the front. I'm going to be taking it out. Sorry, see what I added here to the back. I'm going to be taking it out. Okay, whatever I added here, I'm going to take it out so that at the end of the day it will be equal. I hope you understand what I'm doing here. Just follow it. If you don't understand what I'm saying, follow the video carefully and you will definitely understand. So what I did for the hem, on the hem in front, I'm going to be doing the same thing here. So I came up here by 1 inch. I'm going to use my slight curve now to curve this. Okay, like this. Now I'm going to take my scissors and cut this out. Okay, so this is what I have here for the back. Basically we are done with this. So for the front here, like I said, I'm going to be making a bit of an alteration here. Okay, so for the front here, I'm going to be taking out 1 inch. Okay, you know, I added 1.5 to the back, so I have to take it back because we are going to be taking it from the back to the front when we are joining it. Okay, so I have to subtract it in front, if not it will not be equal. Okay, so I'm going to cut this out. All right, I'm going to now cut this out. Okay, so now I'm going to open this up and cut through the bottom placket. Okay, because this is a shirt, this is supposed to have an opening here. I'm cutting it out, cut through. Okay, simply cutting through like this. All right, because I'm going to be folding this. I'm going to fold this. So this is the right side, and I've, like, as you've seen me turn, now I'm going to be folding this. Okay, I'm going to fold this by ½ inch and folding by ½ inch and folding by 1 inch also. Okay, as you can see here, I folded in by ½ inch and 1 inch. Okay, folding by ½ inch and also folding again by 1 inch. So if you like, you can add your gum stay or your hair stay to that part. Okay, but I didn't add to mine. So if you have, you can add. Okay, add to yours, especially if your Ankara fabric is light. You want to add is either an air stay or paper stay, something that will make it, give it stability. Okay, I advise you add. For this Ankara, this fabric is kind of thick, so I didn't necessarily add. So after sewing, this is what I have here. I have run a stitch from top here to the bottom, from top to the end, okay, to the hemline, and this is what I have here. All right, so I am now going to place this like this, and I'm going to cut out this excess I have here on the neck line. Okay, I'm cutting out this excess here. So when you're folding in your own, please don't cut out the excess until you're done folding in. Okay, you're done sewing in, don't cut out the excess yet. So I'm placing this back like this. Okay, so this is the right side that is facing me here. So I'm going to now bring the back here and place the right side also facing the right side of the front, and I'm going to be sewing in the shoulder by 1/2 inch. Okay, I'm sewing here by 1/2 inch, and I'm going to also sew on this part here by 1/2 inch. So after sewing, this is exactly what I have. Okay, I have run a stitch here for the shoulder. Have you seen where the shoulder is? It's not exactly on the main shoulder. It has dropped like 1 inch lower than where the main shoulder is supposed to be. Okay, where the joining is rather. So I also made a top stitch. Okay, so for this part here, I lost this clip, so I'm sorry guys, please bear with me. I lost the cutting of this clip. Okay, so I'm going to be placing this after sewing in the shoulder. This is what next I'm going to be doing. So I'm simply placing this fabric like this, arranging it like this. Okay, making sure that everything is in place. Now I'm going to be measuring. Okay, from the shoulder here, I'm going to be measuring the chest line. All right, so from here now I'm taking the chest line measurements, which is 8 inches. I'm going to make a point here. Okay, I'm making a point mark here. So from here now, from the bottom part here, I am coming in by, initially I came in by 3 inches, but I later used 2.5 inches. So you can use 2.5 inches. Okay, so I'm placing this here. This is like a false pocket cover. Okay, so I'm placing this here. Now I'm going to flip this like this, and I'm going to be running a stitch. Okay, I'm going to run a stitch by 0.25, and after that I'm going to flip it back like this, and I'm going to be top stitching. Okay, I'm going to top stitch on the pocket so it lays flat. All right, on the pocket cover so it lays flat. So I'll do this for the other part. After doing this, this is exactly what I have here. Okay, I've already sewn the side as well, and I've fixed the pocket. This is, if you want to know how I fix the pocket, I have a video on how you can fix your pocket to your dress. Please go and check it out. So this is what I have. I sewn in the side by the allowance that I had. Now I'm going to be taking the entire neck measurement. Okay, so that will be to fix the collar, okay, of this dress to this dress here. I'm taking the entire neck measurement here. So what I have here is 17.5, and I'm going to be marking the collar here. So I'm taking you guys through on how you can mark your collar, on how you can cut your collar. All right, so from here now I'm using a pattern. So for this part here, it's going to be on fold. Okay, so since I'm using a pattern, I didn't necessarily fold that part. So I'm taking the measurements here, the neck measurement, divide by 2, whatever I had there. I divided that measurement by 2, and I imputed, so I made a straight line there. So now on this part here, this is the collar stand here. So I'm going to be marking 1.025. okay, 1.25 here. You can do 1.5. It depends on how wide you want your collar stand to be. So I'm also marking the same thing here, and I'm going to be connecting the 2 points like this into a straight line like this. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do now would be to mark the midpoint of this, okay, of this collar stand. From here now to this point here, I'm going to be marking the midpoint, then I'm repeating that here. Okay, now I'm going to, from here now, from this point I'm going up by 0.25, and I'm going to be connecting it to meet to the 0.25. Now on this part here, I'm simply curving this here, okay, curving it to meet to this other line here. So I'm going to label this as the collar stand. Okay, so now I am going to be cutting this out. So as you can see, the collar stand here is ready. Okay, I'm going to put this away here. Okay, I'm going to put this away now. Okay, now to mark the collar, I am going to simply take the neck measurement divided by 2. Okay, take your neck measurement divided by 2. So this is the fold. I forgot to label, to mark here, make a mark here, so that when I'm cutting on my fabric, I will know that I'm supposed to be cutting that on fold. So for the collar, I am marking 2.5 inches. Okay, I'm going to be connecting the 2 points together. Okay, so for the collar, you can do 2.5 inches, you can do 3 inches. This one also depends on how wide you want your collar. So now, after taking these measurements here, I am going to be also coming here by this side here, going to be come here by 1 inch, coming here by 1 inch. All right, and I'm going to connect to meet to this point here. After doing this, on this part here, I am going to be coming up by 0.5 inch. Okay, mark here 0.5 inch and connect it to meet to this, to the end. All right, to that end here. Okay, now having done this, this is the collar. I'm now going to cut this out. Okay, I hope you guys are following what I'm doing here. It's not hard. All right, so I'm cutting this out. I'm also going to cut this part here out. Okay, now I am going to use this to cut on the fabric. So I have cut on the fabric, and this is what I have here. Like I said, this part is on fold, as you can see here. Let me open this up. So have you guys seen? I also added gum stay to one of them. Okay, to one. I didn't add gum stay to both of them. All right, so I added gum stay on the collar stand. I added gum stay to one, on that's on the facing. Okay, now on the collar I also added gum stay to the facing. All right, now I am going to be taking the right sides of the collar, and I'm going to be stitching like this here and here. Okay, make a top stitch, make a stitch here, and also I'm going to do that and show you guys. After stitching, this is what I have here. Let me open this up for you guys to see. This is how it is. I have ironed this. Okay, now I bringing down the collar stand. I'm going to open this up. Right side is facing me, so I'm now going to notch the collar. Okay, I'm now going to notch the collar because I'm going to be placing it on the collar stand. Okay, so to know the midpoint, I have to notch the collar and also notch the collar stand. All right, so I'm going to place this like this and notch the collar stand. All right, so if you notch this, it will help you when you're placing this, that it will help you not go back and forth. All right, so after notching, I'm going to now open this up like this. Okay, and I'm going to take the collar now and place it. You see where I have this folded this curvy part here? That is where I'm going to be placing this collar here. Just watch what I'm doing. See where I'm having this curvy part here? That is how I'm placing the collar. Okay, then I'm going to take this one also. Right side is going to be facing the collar. Okay, and I'm going to be matching the notched parts like this. Okay, and I'm going to be sewing here. I'm going to sew here, but when you're sewing, don't sew it to the edge. Okay, so you can sew from, go up by 0.5 inch, sew and make a top stitch there. Okay, then after sewing, this is what I have already ironed this. So this is what I have here. It is very neat, as you can see. Now I am going to be fixing this to the dress. Okay, to the shirt dress. Okay, so now to fix this, I'm going to be placing this like this. Open this up here. Okay, let me just place it how you're supposed to place, how it's supposed to be where after wearing it. This is how it is. So from there to now be as a guide for you to fix this. Okay, So from the back, I'm placing the right side of the collar, okay, facing the wrong side of the fabric, right? And I'm going to be sewing this by 1/2 inch, okay. Before you take to your machine, please make sure you measure this, and what I have here is on point. So after sewing there, I am going to be showing you what I have. So this is what I have here after I stitch this. You can notch your own. Please notch, after sewing, notch the neckline. Okay, so I'm going to be top stitching this like this, okay, neatly. I'm going to sew this neatly. After sewing, this is exactly what I have here, guys. This is looking very neat. As you can see here, our dress is almost ready, okay. So I'm going to be overlocking the inside, okay, to have a neater job. And for the sleeve, I cut the sleeve off camera for the sake of time, okay. So I'm going to be trimming off the armhole, and I'm going to be fixing the sleeve like so. All right, so now this is what I have here. On the hem part, I'm going to be also hemming the down part. Now for this part, okay, the buttonhole is going to be on the right side, okay, and your button is going to be on the left. Please take note. So to fix the button, to mark your buttonhole, you're going to place your tape on your shoulder and mark the chest line, okay, the bust point line. From the bust point line, come up by 3 inches, and from also the bust point line, go down by 3 inches, and that's how you keep on marking till you get to wherever you want your button to end. So guys, after fixing the button and the buttonhole, this is what I have here. It is looking very neat. It is looking really neat, as you can see. So you should try this out, sew this and wear, and also comment, like and share this video. Also subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Thank you so much for watching this video and for always being here. See you guys in my next one.